Okay. We'll see how this is going to work. Okay. So this is going to be day 1 of the next year of school. Okay. So first thing I want to do is I want to review a couple of things. Let me bring my notes. I took notes because that's going to be our book. And what we'll do is eventually we'll read one chapter. The chapters are small. It's real basic. And then we're going to talk about them. We're going to expand on each chapter. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's do it this way. Remember how when we did school last year, we talked about a couple of important things. How the world and the universe is one massive, massive puzzle, right? Remember how we talked about that? Yeah. And what do we talk about? If you're putting this massive puzzle together of the world, the universe, and even God, you're putting this puzzle together, and if you're given wrong pieces for that puzzle, what's going to happen? Won't give, and what else is going to happen? You're not going to be able to complete your puzzle. Are you going to think clearly? Are you going to remember stuff? No. You're not going to remember things. You're not going to think clearly, and you're going to be confused because you're going to say, wait a minute, I learned about this, and I learned this about that, and they don't match at all. They don't make sense together. Make sense? So if the puzzle pieces, if you're putting together a massive puzzle and your pieces are wrong, or say 80 to 90% of your pieces are wrong, the universe and the world is not going to make sense. The universe isn't going to make sense. The world's not going to make sense. Your life's not going to make sense. God's not going to make sense. Science isn't going to make sense. Math, all this stuff's not going to make sense because the puzzle pieces are wrong. So what's going to happen is as you put puzzle pieces into your puzzle that are correct and are the real truth in your puzzle, what's going to happen? If wrong pieces don't make sense and confuse you, what are the right pieces going to do?
They're going to make sense.
They're going to make sense. And what will happen with the world? Will it become more in focus or more out of focus? Right? The world will start to get in focus and stuff will start to make sense and become clearer. Oh, that thing I learned about God, it fits here exactly in the science. Right? I'll give you an example. Does the Bible teach us that God is a screw up, makes mistakes, and it needs to be corrected constantly? No, that's not what God is supposed to be. God's supposed to be all powerful. So where did we get this concept that in order to stay healthy, as soon as you're born, you need to get shots and drugs and medicines, and you got to take that stuff the whole life to prevent disease? Does that make sense? God is perfect. He made us perfect, but we need doctors and medications and drugs and shots our whole life to be healthy. Those two pieces don't belong in the same puzzle, do they? And it's very confusing. It does not make sense. One of those two pieces was wrong. Either God's a screw up or science and the doctors have lied to us. One of those pieces do not belong in the puzzle. Does that make sense? Yes. That's what we're going to figure out. So in the study of what we're learning in school, we're going to try to figure out what makes sense, what does not make sense. What do I want to retain in my brain, and what do I want to let go? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's put this over here. So let's talk about this. We might have brought this up when we did this last year. What is the ultimate purpose of school? School. You could say, okay, both. Remember, we're discussing. So if you want to say school, say whatever's on your mind. That's the point of school, is saying whatever's on your mind. What do you want to say?
I was just asking so I can
Okay.
figure out what I wanted to say.
What's the purpose of school? Just talk about it. Yana? What's the purpose of school, honey? To learn. Okay. To learn what? Angie?
To learn about whatever they want you to know, not what you want to know.
That's the purpose of that school, right? The purpose of public school is to learn what they want you to know. What's the ultimate purpose of school as in a general term of school? What's the purpose of school? Or what should the purpose of school to be?
Learn more about life in general. What you want to learn, not what the other.
Okay, now if you learn about life in general and stuff like that, and whatever they teach you, math and science, and you learn about what they've wanted you to learn in school, right? Are you going to remember all that stuff? Do you remember stuff that you learned in third, fourth, fifth grade? Do you remember you learned about World War II, World War I yesterday? Do you remember a lot? So was it important to learn that? So what I'm getting at is, what's the purpose of school? What are we trying to learn? We talked about this before. You guys, we talked about it before. What are we trying to learn?
Learn how to learn.
Exactly. Purpose of school is not learning about specific facts, is learning how to learn. You're learning how to learn. Because you'll forget stuff from World War II. You'll forget names. Yesterday, I was trying to remember a story in the Bible. I was trying to remember the Benjamite story, where the Benjamites rebelled because they had a group of guys that raped that one girl, and they rebelled. And I was trying to remember. I couldn't remember nothing. What do you think I did? Searched it up online, looked up it online, then looked in the Bible, and I found the answer. So learning how to learn is the purpose of school. You will forget stuff. You will forget facts. You will forget names. You will forget dates. You'll forget cities. The important thing is learning. To learn is you'll learn how to find the information that you forgot. And by doing so, every time you review something, every time you watch a video for the second time or the third time, or you watch another video about the same topic, or you read another book about the same topic. And there may be times where we'll read the same book over. We may do that, read the book again about the richest man in Babylon. We may read that book again. What's the purpose of that? The more times you hear something, the more times the pieces will connect, and the more times you will remember it. So you're learning how to learn. You're learning how to put the pieces in the puzzle and keep them together. Does that make sense? So sometimes we'll go over something that you've already learned, but you may have forgotten. Many times I'll watch a video that I already saw, but I don't remember certain parts. I'm just trying to remember the facts. I'm relearning. So you're learning how to learn. Learning how to learn is when you forget something, you know how to find it fast. Make sense? And by doing so, you'll remember more and more and more. Okay, now, there are two types of learning. This is what we're going to talk about now, real quick here. Let me bring this closer. Okay, what's that? A box or a cube. Okay, that the cube will mean something later. The cube is something very, very important. It'll mean something later, but for now we're going to call it a box. What's the matter? Okay, but for now we're going to call it a box. But the cube will mean something very, very important later. Okay, but for now it's a box. So there is what we call learning inside the box and learning outside the box. What do you think's in the box? Okay. School, which is history. What else? Okay, English literature. What else? Just name some stuff. I'm going to put down the important ones. What do you think's in the box? What do you think in the box refers to?
Stuff that is already known.
No. Good guess. What do you think stuff in the box means? What does that refer to? Let me see, let's put it this way. What if we had another kind of box? I'll draw it like this. What does that look like? Jail, right? Or prison, right? Yeah. If you're in that box, what are you supposed to do? What you're told to do. Stay in there, do what you're told. Don't fight, go to sleep, take a shower, go here, eat, go to sleep. You're in the box. Do what you're told. What do you think this box is?
Same thing.
Do what you're told. Is God in there? Is they teach Bible in there? Not anymore, right? So God is outside of the box, Bible. Why is history in there?
That's what they want you to learn.
Are they what history are they teaching you? You said it a second ago. No, the history they want you to know. Does that make sense? They're teaching what they want you to know. What's also in here? A certain kind of science. What kind of science? We just said it a minute ago, that God is a what? God is a screw up, and you need scientists to figure out everything for you. What drugs you need, what medicines you need, what operations you need. Right? That's in the box. Okay? Let's see, what else? Okay. We're going to do more of this in a little while, but I'm just trying to say, so I'm going to add to this in a while. I had it in a previous, in another page, but I wanted to bring it. So this is called In the Box. Learning. Okay. And what's the other one going to be?
Out of the box learning.
Out of the box. Okay. This is like, this in the box learning is going to be not only public schools, but law school, medical school. And we'll talk about that a little while too. Memorize these. Oops. In the box is memorize this. These are the rules. These are the laws. Memorize them and what? Not apply, even worse, obey. Stay in the box, do what you're told, obey. These are the rules, obey. What's on the outside? God, Bible, philosophy, what we're going to learn. Spell it right?
Yeah.
Economics, this could be, economics could be outside too. What else could be here? Universal history. What's the history of the universe? Why don't we know that?
Schools don't teach that.
Why don't they teach that? They don't want you to know, right? How many times, I don't know if you guys ever watch this, you're probably seeing a lot more now. Or, see, what happens is once you start to look for truth and facts, those truths and facts will find you. You know what I mean? When you want to learn something, like if you hear something weird and you look it up, you're letting the universe know, I want to know. And then all of a sudden you're searching on Facebook, you'll do something here, you'll look on TikTok, all of a sudden a video will appear that's exactly what you were just thinking about. Sometimes you don't even have to, I know Facebook and those things, the microphone is picking up what we're talking about. But sometimes you just think about it in your head. And then you'll be on TikTok and go, oh, I was just thinking about that. That's the universe trying to find you because you're looking for the answer. Okay? Why don't we know the history of the universe? They're trying to tell us that the world, our world, is only 7,000 years old. That's when Adam and Eve were born 7,000 years ago. Prior to that, there was nothing. That's what they're trying to tell us. Prior to 7,000 years ago, there was nothing. How come they keep finding archaeological finds that are 20, 30, 50,000 years old? If the life didn't start before 7,000 years ago, where did all that stuff appear from? Make sense? And how old is the universe supposed to be? They say the universe is billions of years old. And in the box learning, they'll try to tell you that the universe is billions years old, but we're the only intelligent life in the world. Huh? Again, does that fit our puzzle? Does that make any sense? If the universe is billions of years old, we're only 7,000, and we're supposedly the most advanced civilization in the history of the universe. Does that make any sense? No. So that's in the box learning. 7,000 years is in the box learning. The world's billions of years, that's in the box learning. That the world was created by an explosion and bacteria started to come onto land and form monkeys and then humans. That's in the box learning. None of that makes sense. We'll talk about it in a little while, okay? But none of that makes sense. So what universal history, where did the world come from? Philosophy. Philosophy is also the study of what is the meaning of life. I can't get in here.
Can you make it taller?
Me? That's just how it goes. So out of the box thinking too, like the philosophers, many of the times the philosophers would talk about, why are we here? Why are we here? Why are we on this planet? Right? Why is that forbidden to talk about? They took that out of school. Remember, they took philosophy out of school. That's philosophy is talking about the meaning of life.
They want you to still be stuck in a loop.
It's stuck in a loop. Do what you're told, shut up, pay your taxes, get your A's, and get the hell out of here and do what you're told when you go to law school or medical school. Just keep doing what you're told. And don't question anything. Right? Ultimately, just pay your taxes and shut up. Take your drugs, get your medicines, and die. But we want to know, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here? What's the purpose of being? Why are we on the planet? Why are we here? What's our purpose? What's the purpose of even being here? If this is all the purpose is what's the point? Right? Does that make sense? If we're talking in the box thinking, if life's a prison, what's the point? Somebody's on the outside, right? The somebody's on the outside is the benefiting. Something is benefiting from everything being inside the box. And all we're going to do is the kind of learning we're going to learn, that we're going to do this whole year, is not in the box learning, it's out of the box learning. It's not necessarily politics or science or medications or drugs. We're going to have to try to relearn the purpose of learning and relearn the meaning of life and what we're here. And we're going to learn how to question everything. Why are we here? What's the purpose of even being? Let's try to figure it out. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's why we want to expand our thinking. We're not trying to memorize facts of World War II or the Vietnam War because they're wrong anyways. Or like you did before, what are the facts about the Titanic or the Rockefellers? Because they're wrong anyways. But we're going to learn, what's the purpose of being here? Why did those events even happen? Why did World War II happen? Why did the Vietnam War happen? Why did the Titanic sink? What was the purpose? Question everything. That make sense? Okay. Yana, you getting it so far? Some of this stuff's going to be confusing, Yana. It's okay. If you're confused, the purpose is you're going to hear it now, and you're going to hear it again, and you're going to hear it again, and you're going to hear it again. And then it's going to start to make sense. I'll give you an example. What does the Bible mean? What's the word Bible mean? Book. I bet you go to church and ask anybody, what does Bible mean? You go, it's the holy, kiss the book, it's gold, it's Jesus, God's word. Well, what does it mean? What's the Bible mean? What's the word the Bible mean? They'll be like, what are you talking about? So you already know something that they don't know because you've heard it many times, right? Okay. All right. So that's the out of the box thinking. Okay. All right. Another thing we're going to talk about is the microphone still on the green? Okay. Another thing we're going to talk about this whole thing. Remember how we did last year? We always start the year off with a vision board, right?
Yep.
What's the purpose of the vision board?
Kind of set goal that you can accomplish for that year.
Yeah, that's one reason. What's another reason for vision board?
To visualize it.
Visualize. Right. What does visualize do?
It gives you a perspective on what you want to achieve.
Right. Okay. You ever heard of the word manifestation?
Yes.
What is it?
Heard it, I forgot what it meant.
It's almost like
Extreme obsession of wanting something.
no. Manifest is almost like a word like magic. Magic. Does magic exist? Remember we talked about this before a long time ago. Why can't we fly? Why can't we walk through walls? Why can't we read people's minds? Because we think we can't. We're taught when we're little, stay in the box, don't try to fly, don't try to read people's minds, don't try to think, do what you're told, get this shot, turn this off, turn this off. We can't fly, we can't read people's minds, we can't teleport, we can't travel in time because we think we can't. Why was Jesus sent here?
To teach the people.
Teach the people something. Jesus was sent here not to die for our sins, like they say. We're going to get to the chapter on Jesus eventually. We're reading the Bible. We're still in the Old Testament. We're going to get to the teachings of Jesus later. Remember with Jesus, Jesus was kicked out of every church he ever went to, right?
Yeah.
Every church he ever went to. He spoke the truth. They kicked him out. Don't say that. Get out of here. You're a blasphemer. You're a heretic. What was his favorite church? Jesus. His favorite church is when he would just stand on a mountain or in a field and talk to people, right? And tell them stories. Jesus was trying to wake people up of what? The meaning of life and the purpose of being. Why you're here and what you're supposed to do. He was trying to teach it little by little. And the church hated him for it. Get back in the box, get back in the prison of life and shut up. And eventually he was killed for it. Now, we'll get to this chapter later on too. Are we really supposed to worship the fact that Jesus was crucified? Why do you think they want us to worship that Jesus was crucified?
To get people scared of trying to find
Exactly. This is the punishment for questioning leaving the box. We'll torture you, we'll beat you, we'll kill you, and we'll torture you to death. Does that make sense? He didn't come to die and so we can remember his dying. He came to teach us something. And a lot of people know what he came to teach us, and now we're trying to spread the word. Okay? Now, I got off on a tangent here. Talk about manifestation. This is what Jesus was trying to teach. Remember, Jesus was explaining to people, if you watch movies and when we get to the chapters in the Bible, everyone said, Jesus, you're so great, you're so great. And he says, I'm nothing. You guys will be able to do much more than me. He kept saying it to everybody. What does that mean? If he's Jesus, why would other people be able to do more than him? Because we're all sons of God. In essence, we are all part of God. Remember I talked about last year too, is if God's the ocean and you scoop a little shot glass, is that garbage? That's still part of the ocean, right? That's you. You're still part of the ocean. You're a smaller part of the ocean, but you're still the ocean. And if you pour it back in, you're the ocean, right?
Mhm.
So if we are all a piece of God, we are essentially all God. Just a small, tiny piece. and we don't remember what it's like to be part of God anymore. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Manifestation, what manifestation is like magic. Manifestation is bringing about what you think about, bringing into reality what you want. The purpose of the vision board is to visualize what we want. Manifestation is bringing it into reality, is causing what we think about to come into reality. Does that make sense? So that's what manifestation is. So we are going to do a vision board, but we're going to do it different this time. Not today, probably next week, because today we're just trying to set, this week maybe we're trying to set the boundaries of what we're trying to do. We are going to put together vision boards again, but with a different purpose. We are going to put it together with magic involved. Not that we're trying to do hocus pocus, but manifestation is caused by what you sincerely think about and dream about and desire, you bring about. Remember that movie we watched, The Secret? What you think about and dream about, you bring about. Make sense?
Wait, what was the secret again? I forgot.
Is that book? It's based on the book, but it's the movie we saw where the guys were, if you dream about it, you think about it. Remember that one guy, he was saying he dreamed of this beautiful house. He took photos of the house. He wanted the house.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, 10 years later, he pulled up the vision board from 10 years ago and realized he was in that same house. Yeah. And he was in that same house that he dreamed about. He didn't even realize he bought that house. He dreamed about it, and what happened is he manifested his dream. All of a sudden, 10 years later, he looked around, looked at the vision board and go, that's the house I dreamed about 10 years ago. I'm in that house. What he did is he caused reality around him to develop based on what he truly desired. That's manifestation. It's confusing right now. Eventually, you're going to get it. Okay? Right? So, manifestation is bringing about changes to the reality of life so that the world will almost move to make you happy. Okay? We're going to talk about that in much more detail in a minute. I'm not sure where I planned that. I think it's right. We'll do it in a minute. So manifestation is, I put this sentence down. You create the world around you by the thoughts and beliefs that you have. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Believe that you're supposed to go to school, learn their history, learn how the Titanic sunk. Stop talking about the Titanic sinking because of that, or I'll give you an F. Remember that, Alex? Learn about why it happened. Learn what you told you. Learn about medical school. Obey the rules. And what happens if you do that? You'll create a world of the box. That's going to be your world. If you're in prison and you're manifesting, you're creating, your whole visions are, I have to sit in the cell, go to sleep, go in the yard, eat my food, sit in the cell, go to sleep, eat my food. If that's your world, that's your beliefs and your thoughts, that's the world you created, and that's the world you're going to stay in. So manifestation is when you rethink, you recreate the world around you by the thoughts and beliefs that you have. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to rethink how we think about the world and manifest a new, better life for ourselves and the world. Okay? Yeah, this is the best place for it. Okay. Let's see. Let me give you each one of these. Okay. No. The words are small, but can you read this, Alex? Now, this is who are we reading about? John D. Rockefeller. You did a report on it. It's only a little bit. Now, this is important to listen. Listen 1 second. John Rockefeller, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, became the one person in charge of almost everything. He became in charge of the Federal Reserve, the banking industry, right? He became in charge of all the public schools, and by de facto, what's taught in private schools? 90% what is taught in public schools, except they'll add in some Bible, right? So by default, Rockefeller's in charge of the entire education process, the entire banking process, and he's also in charge of all of the medical schools. Did you know that? Everything that is taught in medical schools is based on John Rockefeller. So if he's in charge of all the medical schools, he must be one hell of a doctor, right? It's not. So let's read about it. This is just his, what we printed up is John Rockefeller's limits of his education. How much education has he had? Why is he in charge of all the schools and all the medical schools in the world? Okay, read that out. Early education, that's all. Oh, here, no, read from the beginning. John D. Rockefeller had
a limited formal education, attending high school for a few years and taking a 10-week course in bookkeeping. He excelled in mathematics and later earned business practices through his work experience rather than through extensive schooling. Early education. John D. Rockefeller's education began in Richford, New York, where he was born. His family moved several times during his childhood, eventually settling in Cleveland, Ohio. Key educational milestones. Owego Academy attended from 1852, excelling in mental arithmetic. Cleveland High School enrolled from 1853 to 1855, where he participated in the debating team and developed public speaking skills. Folsom's Commercial College completed a 10-week course in bookkeeping in 1855, which provided him with essential business skills.
Okay, that's good. Just that's all. Okay. Now, that's his resume. If that was a resume, would you hire this guy to run your medical school? Would you hire him to run your kindergarten? How could he be in charge of all the schools in the world, or at least in the United States, all the schools in the United States and all the medical schools in the world? He's in charge of all the public education, private education in the United States, and all the medical schools in the world. Why? Does that make sense? Remember I talked about earlier? We're going to try to figure out the pieces of the puzzle. Does this make sense? Is it an incorrect puzzle piece in our puzzle? Right? So it says John Rockefeller, the one who's in charge of all the medical schools in the world, went to high school from 1853 to 1855. So he went to high school for 8 years. No, wait, 2 years. He went to high school for 2 years. And then after high school, did he go to medical school? No, he went to college for a 10-week course on bookkeeping. And this is the guy that's in charge of all the medical schools in the world. Now, what's also important to know, who else is John Rockefeller? What is he known for? Well, he's also, what was his major business?
It was some bank.
Well, he's in charge of Standard Oil. He owns the company Standard Oil. So he owned, back then in the 1800s, 1900s, the monopoly. He owned all the oil companies. He had a monopoly in the oil companies. What is medications and drugs made out of? Oil products. They call it petroleum. Petroleum is what they use to make fuel or gas and oil. Petroleum is also the main ingredient in all medications and drugs. That's the missing piece in the puzzle. Why is he in charge of the medical schools? Because he owns the drugs. Back then, it's also important to know, too, that he shut down all the real medical schools. There was medical schools. There was all kinds of ancient Chinese schools, acupuncture, herbal medicine. There was American Indian herbal medicine. There was a lot of medications that worked back then. There were natural herbal medications and natural healings back then that worked. He, by bribing Congress and politicians, got all of the real cures outlawed and banned so that he can sell petroleum products to people in the form of drugs. Then he gained control of all the medical schools in the world, got all the medical schools to teach the same in-the-box teaching, stay sick. You need, God is an idiot. You need medications, doctors, and scientists to stay alive. Why? So he can become filthy, filthy, filthy rich. Okay? That's in the box thinking. But his education is nothing. He's a retard. Okay? Now, what are you going to say?
He's a
Thanks.
retard.
So, now that's that one. Now, let's do one more since we're on this topic. Does anybody know who's in charge of all the vaccinations in the world these days? No? These days. Has anybody heard the name Bill Gates? Who's Bill Gates? Bill Gates, does he own Microsoft or something? He's a computer guy. He owns Microsoft, I believe. But Bill Gates and his foundation is in charge of all the vaccinations in the world. When he's the one, he's making billions and billions of dollars, maybe even trillions of dollars off of vaccinating the world. Let's look at his education. Why don't you read his education, Angie? This is Bill Gates.
Education?
Yeah, he must be some smart. If he's in charge of all the vaccinations and he's more powerful than God at keeping people healthy, he must be some superhuman medical scientist, right? From the top.
Bill Gates attended Harvard University, where he studied mathematics and computer science, but he dropped out in his junior year to co-fund Microsoft. Although he did not complete his degree, he later received an honorary degree from Harvard in 2007. Educational background of Bill Gates. Attended Lakeside School, a private school in Seattle. Developed an early interest in computers and programming. Enrolled at Harvard University in 1973. Studied mathematics and computer science. Dropped out in 1975 during his junior year to co-fund Microsoft.
Okay, so that's good enough. So Bill Gates went to college for mathematics and computer science and then dropped out of college to found Microsoft. What does that have to do with science, health, medical school, doctors, healing people? Does it have anything? None of it does. Did I give everybody one? Oh, you did. How does he get to be in charge of all the vaccinations in the world?
Great question. I don't know.
Right? Does that make sense? Does that belong in our puzzle piece of the world? So if all of a sudden Bill Gates comes out and says, we got a new vaccination, and we're going to throw mosquitoes in the air, and we want you to go out in the backyard and get bit by mosquitoes, then you'll be vaccinated from this new disease. Does that sound like it makes sense? It's like something you want to do. But that's what they're doing.
Wait, they're telling people to go get. Wait, what?
They're filling mosquitoes with poison and then having them spilt over cities and then having the mosquitoes bite people. So, you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
There are things in the world that don't make sense. And if you don't question, you stay in the box, learn the Rockefeller system of medical school and public schools, and don't question, are you going to get a clear image of the world and how it's supposed to be? Are you going to get a clear image of God in the Bible? Because then you're going to start to realize, you're going to start to question God. God must be an idiot if he can't make a body that doesn't need to get bit by mosquitoes to stay alive, right? So by staying in the box, you get a very distorted image of everything, and you get very confused. That's why a lot of people today, you see them in the chat too, a lot of people today are super confused. They don't get nothing because everything they're learning makes no sense. What was one of the biggest things that Jesus said that, when people question him, why should we do this? Why should we do that? Why should we be good people? Why should we do this? There's a word that begins with F. Why should we believe in God? Yana? Word that begins with F. Why should we believe in God?
Faith. Oh.
What'd you say?
Faith.
Okay, that's good. That's okay.
But
Faith. That's okay. She had a hard time with it. Faith. Jesus kept saying, have faith. What does faith mean?
To to work.
Believe. Believe something's going to work, or believe in something. Have faith. Believe in it. Believe. Why would he say that? Up to that point, there was no such thing. Did the
Because
churches teach that?
He wanted the people to be open-minded about the world and how bad the
Yeah.
schools are.
Yeah.
Churches.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, he wanted you to be open-minded, but have faith. Up to that point, the Bible, the churches, the Old Testament talks about faith, but it talks about it in a different way. It talks about it like God would say, take that city. Why should we take the city? Have faith that I will deliver that city to you. I will give it to you. Have belief. And when the people had belief or faith, things would work out. So Jesus was trying to tell everybody, believe in something, have faith in it, and it will all work out. Why? What happens when we believe or we have faith? We just talked about it a minute ago. What's this manifestation?
You will manifest it.
Exactly. When you believe in something, the world will shift and alter around you to become what you believe in. If everybody, let's put it this way, if everybody believes the purpose of the world is following the law, following the rules, pay your taxes, and die, what's going to happen? If everybody believes that.
You're going to follow the rules, pay your taxes, and die.
That's it. That's what's going to happen. If the world creates around what you believe in, if we all think the world is follow the rules, pay your taxes, and die, then that's the world. But if we all believe that that's not the world, if we all believe that we can create anything we want, that we can be as free and as happy as we want, if we all believe we can fly, travel in time, float, then that's the world we're going to create around us. The more people that believe or have faith, like Jesus said, that's what Jesus was trying to tell you, have faith that you'll be able to do more powerful, more extreme things than I'm doing. Remember, he kept saying that to people. He kept saying, you will be able to do greater things than I. Why? He was trying to get them to have faith, to believe in themselves. They kept saying, did Jesus ever say, get on your knees and worship me? No. Why do we go to church and kneel and worship him? That's what the church has told us to do. Why? Because what are they going to say in a few minutes? Not only that, but are they going to pass a basket around? Give us your money. The Bible says, give us your 10%. Jesus never said, get on your knees and worship me. As a matter of fact, if you watch any movie and people are on their knees worshiping, he says, get up. Doesn't he? He says, stand up. Stop worshiping me. Get up. Have faith. Believe. That's what he kept saying over and over and over. Don't worship me. You will do greater things than me. Have faith. Believe. Right? He also tried to teach the people to have love your fellow man, take care of each other. Teach others what I'm teaching you. Teach others to have faith, believe, and love. And the world, he was trying to spread love, faith, and belief around the people like a virus, so that when everybody believed and had faith, the world would change around them. And it did. It took 2,000 years, but it did. Because one of the only religions in the world that spreads love and truth and belief and brotherly love. You know that Christianity is the only religion that donates to other religions? You know, Israel, Judaism, they don't donate money to Christianity or to Muslims or to anybody else. They only donate money to Jews. Muslims, they don't donate money to anybody else. If you're a Muslim, they'll help you be Muslim. But if you're a poor person on the street, they don't give a shit about you. Christianity is the only religion that tries to help everybody, not just Christians. So it took thousands of years, but it worked. Remember how we talked about this before too, and we'll get to the Bible on Jesus later. But when Jesus was there, they thought he was the Son of God, and he was, but they kept saying to him, they were waiting for what?
Him to eradicate all the evil and
right.
Make the world a better place.
The Old Testament talked about a Savior coming. They thought a savior was going to come with a big flaming sword and just kill all the bad guys. Is that what Jesus did?
No.
That's not what he did at all. And they kept saying to Jesus, the Romans are right there. Go kill them all. Give us our freedom. And he kept saying to them, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to save you, but you have to what?
Have faith.
Have faith, believe, and what?
Do what I told.
Save yourself. Right? I will teach you how to, but you have to learn how to save yourself. Right? So that's why Jesus was here. Have faith, love your brothers and sisters, love your family, love everybody, even the ones that aren't Christian, even the ones that hate you, love them. Try to help them see the light. Have faith, believe, love, and the world will change around you. And save yourself. That make sense?
Yep.